And we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. The scene goes ahead and opens up in a bit of a shiny afternoon. The warmer, summery seasons have extended the ride of Helios for about an hour or two. So, in all actuality, it's kind of early evening, but the sun is still up. The sun is definitely still shining. No twilight here to be seen yet. As we open the scene with one Black Fury Galliard, Lupus, by the name of Culls, sort of being led by one Chalagaya Hamid Rangabash to what is aptly named Go West. The storefront simply has the lettering Go West with an exclamation mark on it. And through the windows, you can probably see belt buckles as well as wide brim hats, boots, jeans, plaid t-shirts, various different knickknacks and paddywhacks that most people go ahead and associate with Western gear and Western wear. And as Lucas goes ahead and pops up the small little stoop and opens up the door, he goes ahead and looks to Culls. You coming?
You wish me to follow you?
He goes ahead and nods.
She just will give a slight shrug and follow you. She is somewhat confused as to where they are.
Well, the shop itself, it looks like it's got lots of stacks on it. And when you go ahead and walk on through, you can smell leather and shoe polish, heavy, heavy, heavy in the air. It doesn't look like, at least on this particular afternoon, that many people are shopping, but you do go ahead and hear a man being attended to by one of the staffers. Apparently, he's in the boot sizing section, but Lucas, for his part, is going to go ahead and try to direct you more to the hats. So, you ever see any of this stuff before?
It is homemade clothing. It may be of animal cured your fixed animal skins, and more than I have seen in a place before, but it is homemade clothing.
This, he goes ahead and sort of flips one of the wide brim hats onto his own noggin. Supposed to be a 7-gallon hat, 5-gallon hat, 10-gallon hat. Don't really know, but it looks like it's coming from a Hollywood Western, right?
What is a Western?
A Western movie. It's a moving picture that is all about cowboys in the frontier times during America, somewhere along far west, probably in the Nevada desert or the Texas desert. Actually, El Paso seems like a really, really good place to go ahead and set a Western. Lucas says he goes and flips off his hat and puts it back on the rack.
She looks at you a little bit confused. You are speaking of the moving pictures that some of your storytellers use to tell stories, right?
He goes ahead and nods.
And you are referring to are these particular clothings represent a important location of story for you?
He goes ahead and says, trying to explain a little bit better. How do I explain this? He says. He puts on another black hat. I guess it's not really all that simple to go ahead and explain, but if you allow me to try again. This is what people believe cowboys and Indians and frontier people used to go ahead and wear a long, long time ago. It's not actually true, but it's what's been popularized throughout the ages. You can find more authentic Western wear other places and other historians. This is just what the general public goes ahead and accepts as truth. Not really truth.
It is a story of before where the details have faded somewhat, like the legends of before.
He goes ahead and stops for a hot second and nods. Very, very sagely nod, as if you imparted him something with a great wisdom.
All tribes or even the peoples have legends. If this is one of their legends and seems to be these moving pictures, and I guess perhaps there is a custom to dress yourselves to look like these legends.
A little bit, a little bit. It's more like, I got it. Did your sisters ever try to talk to you about fashion or theme?
They, I think by fashion you mean they wore they some of them insisted on having many clothes and changing them all the time. I I didn't see the point. I have my set of clothes, and if the weather is cold, I will find more. If they get damaged, I will replace them. I did not see the purpose to the many clothes.
He goes ahead and nods as he goes ahead and takes a huge, huge belt buckle off the rack and go ahead and size himself up. Seems like he's pretty damn thin according to this belt. Goes ahead and squeeze it tight for just a hot second. Tries to buckle the big ass buckle, and it has what would okay. What's a reasonably hilarious thing to go ahead and say here? What would Clint Eastwood do? Goes ahead and checks it in the mirror. Goes ahead and releases the buckle and slides it off. Hangs it back. It's sort of like that. It's sort of like that. Let's see. I guess, and I don't know your sisters personally, but I can only guess. I can guess that your sisters had different garments for different occasions, right?
They wore different ones at different points.
Okay.
You
Well,
had
think
many.
about this.
I didn't
Go
keep.
ahead. All right. Well, think about this store right here, providing clothing or a fashion for a particular occasion. That being Western themed parties and such.
Are you planning to attend such an event?
Go ahead and look at Lucas again. He's matching and mix matching the white hat and the black hat, and he goes ahead and shakes his head. No, no, no. I'm just learning how to go ahead and blend in. So, since we've been talking, what can you tell me about the man in the back row currently getting his feet sized? You can see him. You can see Lucas at least. He's both looking at you from a mirror where he's looking at his black and white hat, but also in the mirror you can see far, far into the back row where the man is getting his feet measured, getting his shoe size. You can see this really, really belabored clerk trying to explain to the man that his shoe size must have changed, and the customer getting just that little bit more irate, just that little bit more insistent that his shoe size has not changed since he's been a young lad. And you can look at the man, you can definitely tell that his particular sin is gluttony. He's a bit of a, he looks like a pig.
He is a particularly foul specimen of. He looks around and will understand what the silence is. He smells of sweat. All the large ones tend to. He His size means he will be slow, but he is angry. He is not a particularly interesting specimen. Why would you choose to focus on him?
I'm choosing to focus on him because he is the only patron here, besides ourselves, that is trying to go ahead and get an outrageous boot size for him on such a late, late, late afternoon. In fact, such a late afternoon just before Mother's Day. Tells me he's in a bit of a rush. Tells me that he may be attending a Mother's Day celebration tomorrow, either at his service. You can go ahead and see the little chain that he has around his neck. Cross, probably Christian, probably Presbyterian, Protestant, because they don't like flashy jewelry, but like to go ahead and show a nod to their faith. Obviously, in a rush, obviously did not plan this out, and may not be paying attention to his surroundings that much. Meaning that if something were to disappear around him, he probably wouldn't focus on the actual cause of disappearance. He'd probably continue focusing, being irate at that poor, poor man who's just trying to do his job.
Okay, you can't see them, but I did actually just about pass my willpower check for you repeatedly mentioning Mother's Day.
I'll go ahead and believe you.
Yeah, there was one success. There were ones, but there was one success, but I can't actually show the dice. He is, if you say this is such an inconvenient day for him, he is foolish. He is clearly not listening to advice. He has come here for advice and is not listening to it, but he is not alone in not being wise.
You say he's not alone in not being wise?
Many people ask for advice when they do not truly wish to hear it. They say they want stories, but they don't want the stories that you tell them.
Let's see. I believe there's a three-part quote that goes along with that if I remember hard enough, I can go ahead and tell you a little bit. life is learning. Learning takes effort, and effort is pain. Sometimes learning is learning some very, very harsh truths, and without the effort that goes along with it, you can't really be alive. But in any case, the whole point of the story, the whole point of bringing you here is to teach you how to just go ahead and blend in. Now, think about everything that we went ahead and learned about this man simply by standing nonchalantly in this corner and observing him.
He is prey. And again, she kind of gives a bit of a shrug. It is natural to observe and to assess prey, but you bring me here. So you mentioned a reason for coming here. What this is the purpose, to simply observe those who are here?
To observe, to blend in, to be one with the environment, and to control your breathing. Controlling your breathing is the most important part. Now, can you possibly, in any way, shape, or form, think about approaching that man quietly, stealthily, without being observed by either the man or the staffer that is helping him? Get about, let's just go ahead and say 3 feet away.
It is. I see your point. I know what I would wish to do, and I have to admit I have come across similar problems here in the park. Moving from one place to another unobserved here is different. Different to when one is hunting. The same, but different.
Goes ahead and nods. When you walk on 2 feet, it's not much different from walking on 4 feet. It's all about breathing. And when you're out here in the open, in front of society, it's even more so. Just about breathing. Lucas says, as yeah, he's going to go ahead and break away from the mirror. It seems as if he's decided on the black hat for this particular occasion. You can see that it's dipped way, way down low. And you can go ahead and see as he just very, very confidently walks, very, very measured steps. Kunk, 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 kunk. You can hear the man, the glutton, go ahead and continue to go ahead and raise his voice. Something about how this man is so incompetent at his job and pretty much disregarding any sort of public humiliation he may be dawning on him. And what you see from your angle is Lucas just approaching the man's jacket that he has sort of go ahead and hang up. I mean, a bit of a fluid motion, as if he didn't really mean it, as if he was nearly knocking the jacket over. Something goes ahead and disappears in Lucas's own pocket. At which point, Lucas again just continues to walk very, very nonchalantly, as if he's not a part of this scene that's about to go down. And takes another alley. Actually goes ahead and readjusts his black hat in another mirror. And you can see in that mirror, he isn't giving you a direct snarl, but he seems very, very pleased and smiling at himself.
Coles will cock her head slightly, and she will see that he has executed what she has observed before, and will attempt to make her way across the room towards him, not following the exact same route he did. Maybe you passing the other side of them. You can see her trying to walk nonchalantly, but also perhaps there is more focus for her on. She almost seems like she's trying to walk quietly still. Like she can't help the thing of trying to almost not be there. The idea of being able to be seen is still very foreign to her. As she makes her way across, and she, as you did, as she gets near to them, she pauses briefly to look at some coats hanging on the thing near them on a display, like an end of an aisle thing. A few things that have some brightly coloured stickers on them. She tries to concentrate and see if she can read the words, and if there are words she recognises from what Katori has been teaching her. And shakes her head briefly when she's struggling to read them. She recognises some of the letters, but the font is strange, so she then moves on towards Lucas. Trying to reach out with her other senses and not look at the people. And then she'll move till she's standing next to him. But
Okay. You
the
say
whole
you're
time she's
extending
probably
out your.
looked a little bit awkward whilst doing it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, tell me, what is Cole's trying to do with this whole act, this whole impromptu spy mission?
She's not entirely sure what she is accomplishing. She decided that Lucas had gone across the room and had clearly managed to pause near the prey and not get their attention. So she felt that this was clearly and if there was something in theory to be heard there, and use her other, it gave him a chance to be closer so he could use his other senses when there to gain more information and then move on like you would with prey. This is her
All right.
understanding of what she was supposed to do.
All right. All right. You're not too far off. As you go ahead and approach the man, they're busy in their argument. Not going to be called a conversation. It is an argument. And as you go ahead and move closer, you smell not only the man and his obvious sweat. I mean, it's an impressive sort of body over. As you said, the big ones, they always sweat. But there's a smell underneath it. There are two scents actually underneath it, and it's a scent that you're familiar with. It's what the female hominids will go ahead and put upon themselves to mask their own scents. And as I said, the weird thing is there are two of them, two totally different female scents on them. And you continue to walk by, and the prey is none the wiser. And you can very, very handily go ahead and walk up to where Lucas is. Lucas, at this point, is taking some plaid shirts off the rack and trying them on, see if they fit. And these are very, very tacky plaid designs.
As she comes next to Lucas, she will say to him, I find it difficult to get my head around this idea that, or what I assume you are trying to show, or what I get, that you can be so near those prey, or those who you wish to observe, and that on two legs it seems to almost be better to be seen but not noticed, but to actually still be seen than to not be seen at all, because that that makes someone look for you, whereas being seen does not. I mean, truly being unseen is still better, but because the the the
I
true
understand.
the true
Go ahead.
two legs, they don't use their other senses. If you were approaching a deer or a rabbit, they would not merely look at you. They would have to be unseen in all ways to observe them.
Goes ahead and nods. It's true. It would be better to be totally unseen, but in places where that is unavoidable, it's best not to be noticed, to pretend like you're not here. Goes back to what we're in went ahead and mentioned pretend.
Yes, the pretending, the untruths, they do not come easily to some of us. We are a simpler and more honourable stock, you understand.
He goes like ahead and waves. Actually, he rotates his wrist. Well, okay, I'll take your word for that one. But let me show you this. Now, I learned quite a few things about our old dear Charles over here. He says as he removes something from his pocket, and it's what Calls would understand as a. Actually, has Katori ever shown Calls his own ID?
Several people have shown them to her and told her she should probably get one. Sinnoh was thoroughly horrified that she didn't have a wallet or anything to put like a subway ticket in and look more normal.
Well, Lucas is removing a driver's license that everybody has been going ahead and showing you, probably from a wallet that the man had, because he shows you a picture of the man. He shows you lots of different Hamid glyphs, and he goes ahead and simply says, more of a whisper just to you. Actually, he's going to go ahead and like get in closer to you, huddle closer next to you so that only you two can hear this conversation. Well, seems like Mr. Charles goes ahead and lives in a very, very nice little neighborhood, not in the city. And apparently, goes ahead and flips the card around to show you a bit of a photograph, is very happily married.
So you have discovered where he dens and his packmates or his mate.
Goes ahead and nods.
That is a lot of information to gain from such a small thing.
Mm-hmm. What did you find out?
He his accent does not, or his tone of voice does not match the majority of those who are here. This place has got a more. This city has a more mixed variation of tones than where I am from, but still, it does not match the majority or those who say they are from this place. Not so different, but it is. He was probably not from the city or from this place. If you say he dens outside, this may match or may suggest he, like myself, originated from somewhere else. He has sense that the female use the the women they but not one female scent. Two, this is unusual, is it not?
Goes ahead and nods. Looks at the photograph again. So you're saying he's close to two women.
This is what his sense would suggest. Well,
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
One might suggest one is a offspring of his if he has some, but he does not look old enough to have one of age that might wear these scents. It seems to be only the more mature of the females that wear them.
So you're saying that he goes ahead and flips over the card again, that Miss Charles is not the only woman in Mr. Charles's life. Oh, fair enough.
This is what the smells would suggest.
He goes ahead and nods. Okay, okay. You notice that Lucas goes ahead and stuffs the card back into his jacket, and somebody looks to Culls and says very, very sincerely, "Okay, so did anything here catch your eye, or is it all just a big bust for you?"
She sighs slightly and perhaps looks back at the item he'd had in his hand and looks around to see if there is somewhere that had similar accessories. It smells the same, and she has smelt that many of the leather of the things that the items that he just recently described as a wallet that people seem to keep their ID in, and some Weaver tokens and other assorted bits that Thinner has insisted that she must have to, as Lucas has been suggesting, to blend in. And, well, if there is one of those items here, they smell like they should come from this store, or they could have some. Maybe I should get one for myself in the effort of blending in, you understand.
Yes, yes. Lucas is going to go ahead and point towards the storefront, and true the word, there is a bit of a glass case that showcases jewelry, necklaces, rings, watches, and then off to one side, one particular shelf is devoted simply just to wallets. Some are very, very plain. Some are very, very elaborate. Some have words on them. Others don't.
She will look at a few of the items, turn them over, look at a plain one, and then look back at Lucas and be like, if I take this, they will expect an exchange, correct?
He goes ahead and nods. And oh, look at that! Out of his wallet. Well, somebody's wallet, anyways. Comes out paper money. He goes ahead and says, if you exchange that wallet for this money, that man will go ahead and give you different money, and it'll be yours.
She studies it, frowns. She has picked the one that is like the least stained and the least worked, and probably smells the most like just leather. Um, she looks a bit reluctant, but she will then nod firmly to herself and stride firmly toward, confidently as she can towards the where she has seen other people exchanging the monies for items near the exit.
All right, all right. There's a little bell that has a little sign that if you can read says "Ring for service."
She can probably read ring. She might not, service might be more difficult, but if it just says ring, she will press it.
Probably press it with like the with the totality of her paw, actually, but not with her
Yeah.
fingertips, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, she'll probably probably get her thumb because thumbs are quite novel and like hold it down and make as much noise. Like when someone holds a buzzer down for too long.
Okay, you press it down the once, it rings the once, you let it off for a little bit, and push it down again to make it ring even more, and that exasperated serviceman goes ahead and looks up from this irate customer who's just bubbling up more and more and more, and he's like building up a tolerance for this nonsense. He'll go ahead and excuse himself. Fat man is pretty irate at this moment, but has to go ahead and wait. Comes up to you, and he seems exhausted. He seems a bit frazzled. Your own rage, the curse that comes off of you, affects him, but just that slight bit more, but doesn't push him off the edge quite yet. You can definitely see that he just wants to get this day over with, and you're just one more thing in a long lines of things he has to do today. He's trying to put on his neutral mask as best as possible and says, "What can I do for you, ma'am?"
She looks down at the wallet in her hand and kind of puts it in his direction and was like, I would like this.
Okay. He goes ahead and takes the wallet, takes a paper tab, scans it. The register goes ahead and blinks a few numbers. He goes ahead and looks at you. 1015, please.
She looks down at the money in her hand that Lucas gave her and just hands it over.
I go ahead and take it very, very quickly. Go ahead and quickly make change. Given about a few slides of paper and some coins, and also a slip of paper that has a bunch of smaller writing on it. He goes ahead and looks at you again, trying to keep a neutral mask on, smiles at you deliberately, and says, "Have a nice day."
Austin,
Yes, I know.
teeth or no teeth in the smile.
Roll a fate die.
You won't see it.
I trust you.
Where did Dice Stream go? Come back, Dice Stream. There's a negative.
So he doesn't smile. He doesn't show his teeth, excuse me.
That's good. That's fine. At that point, she just looks blankly down, looks down, and sort of frowns down at the collection of coins and paper she is given. Looks up, stuffs it in her pocket, takes the item, and just sort of nods at him and turns to Lucas.
Lucas, for his part, is done with playing a bit of costume, or at least playing a cowboy for a hot second, and is well on his way out.
So, yeah, Coles will make her way to the exit where Lucas is going and just pause briefly to look back at the store, which is drowning in leather products, and just say, are all of these items really essential? Was it really necessary? And then she, as if she's going to ask some more questions, and then just shakes her head and goes, of course, it doesn't have to be necessary. And she just looks a little bit angrier as she walks out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Lucas, for his part, is a few paces away. You can notice that he's looking off into a northwest direction, actually, and you'll notice that this street, at least, pretty much in here. Or at least most of the buildings go ahead and end here. You can imagine this place as a a strip mall of sorts. And when it goes ahead and ends, it ends in a long stretch of road, but on one side, on the right side of the road from where you're facing, is just a bit of expanse, a bit of wilderness far off, a few hundred paces at least, but definitely still there.
At the sight of open space, Coles will perk up and definitely be looking that way. And clearly, we are not being not so much in the center of the city anymore. She's clearly taking a few deep breaths of air and enjoying just that little bit less pollution and weaver taint that's in the air.
Lucas, for his part, also goes ahead and breathes heavily. So, you want to go to the park? He goes ahead and like points to his right, that park over there, and start to talk a little bit more freely.
Indeed. After so long, one can't help getting itchy. Almost as if the dirt it falls on your skin, and she just shivers slightly and moves quite happily and purposefully towards the little bit of park that you've described.
Okay. He goes ahead and as he's walking, goes ahead and asks you, do you know the rite of dedication?
I do not.
Okay, well, fair enough. I do. I think I do. I may have to double check that. The talisman dedication. Yeah, it's a little one. I went ahead and learned it. What's required? Oh no. Okay. What moon is it? Because if it's not a gibbous moon, this is not gonna work.
Mm,
No, it's a completely new moon.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Dang it. Lucas is going to go ahead and say, well, this is entirely the wrong moon to go ahead and dedicate it to you. So if you want to go ahead and leave your new wallet in a baggie as we go ahead and run, that'd be fine by me. We can pick it up after a good run.
How far was your vehicle if we needed to leave things? The box we came in.
Oh, he goes ahead and scratches for a few seconds. Yeah, if you want to run back to the mystery screen and put it in there, he goes ahead and takes out a dangling chain with many shiny metal pieces on it. Goes ahead and hands it to you. Unlock it with this key. Place your wallet in there. It'll be safe. Make sure to lock it up afterwards, please.
She will quickly jog back to the van, deposit the wallet, and empty her pockets of anything she'd picked up while she was there. And the Weaver tokens or anything else she had on her, and which was very little as usual. And head back to Lucas and hand him the keys back.
Excellent. Go ahead and hand him the keys. And Lucas, for his part, is going to go ahead and start to wander further into the woods and go ahead and take his time to. Actually, no, he's not going to take his time for this one. He wants to do an instant. Goes ahead and looks up at the moon that is starting to rise and shift into Lupus well within the tree line.
Yep, Colt will move into the tree line and then she will revert back to her breed form.
Lucas, for his part, goes ahead and stretches his limbs, goes back to calls, goes ahead and nuzzles her muzzle for a hot second before walking past her and walking back around and sort of just doing a little bit of a trek in these woods. As he goes ahead and says, "So, was that your? What did you think about the moot earlier today?"
The moot was interesting. I had not yet seen one here. There was a lot of serious matters to discuss.
Mm-hmm. Lots of serious matters to discuss. A lot of laundry that needed to be clean and whatnot.
She'll just let that one pass. She did not understand the last statement. There were many things that needed to be resolved. There are some moots are serious, many, but all have a purpose, and much was achieved today. It was a very successful moot.
Yeah, it was unfortunately necessary. Hopefully, we'll be able to all move past this collectively as a set.
What happened was, as you say, necessary, untasteful perhaps to some, but necessary. But I feel there were more than enough other stories and other information shared between the Garu, much of the which sounded like needed to be shared to give people enough to be focused on in the future, so they are not looking at what was before, except to learn the lessons, so that another does not fall foul of the deals they are making.
Mm. In particular, Miss Harris, excuse me, Cinna, went ahead and mentioned that worm shrine right underneath our feet. And what do you think about that bit of business?
I was there on one of the times they went down when the relatively recently when the tunnel collapsed behind us. I saw what was there. It was horrific in its own way. It was the worm at its worst. We must do all we can, and now I believe the information had already been shared somewhat with yourself. You were referred to as having helped recently scout as well. The more who know, the more who can help. A Garu should never do anything by themselves, after all. We are stronger together.
This is true. This is true. Lucas, for his part, goes ahead and puts his nose to the ground for a hot second. I don't think there's actually any good game this time of day during this season. Hmm. Let's see. He goes ahead and starts to move a little bit more quietly, a little bit more stealthily. You can see him go ahead and measure his breaths again. You can. Mm, there's something in the air. Can't quite tell what's in the air, but there's something in the air.
As he takes a more alert and posed, Calls will follow suit. She's on her feet, her ears are fully pricked, and she's lowered herself slightly to the ground. She will, if he's clearly sniffing things out, and this is clearly where it can be her chance to shine. She's back in her natural environment. She will spend that point of gnosis, and she will activate heightened senses.
Yay!
And so she will take a nice long draw of air and see if she can, what she can scent on the air. So many. Six. But the two stuck. Oh, here we go. I can actually show. Well, I can attempt to show you dice.
There was an attempt made. Okay.
There we go.
All right, Anne, you go ahead and find culls in a bit of wilderness with not a lot of game, but with 2 successes. Tell me, what does she smell in the air? What does she hear with her ears? What does she see with her cunning eyes?
She will smell mostly the passage of the Hommids. Many of the times they have brought their dogs through this park, and she will smell the excrement and the repeated urination of these creatures as they all pitifully attempt to try and mark their territory one after another. She will smell the passage of some cats, but in terms of the wilder things, the things that have been not so touched by the humans, there are a few small rabbit burrows and trace of their passing. There are squirrels in the trees. There always are. They're just rats that climb trees. There is perhaps something slightly larger. There might be, just out of the, I don't know if you have foxes. We always have foxes.
Let us say there's a fox around,
There is
and all of such creatures around.
a the the squirrels are high up in the tree. Not many, but there are always some. And there is perhaps the scent of a fox, but it will be deep in its burrow at this time, on the far side. But it is clearly the fox that is. It is the fox. This park is the fox's territory, despite what the dogs think. And she will look at Lucas and say, and there is indeed not much here, but there is a few small game if you wish to chase them, and one certainly not a challenge for us who would try to claim this place.
Lucas, for his part, how does the lupus go ahead and say, go ahead and with the negative is the question. He'll go ahead and actually just say, because I can't remember off the top of my head, no. If there's nothing here, I don't want to go ahead and upset the balance too much. Better hunting and better game in the northern state.
Indeed. Where there is so little wild, we should preserve what there is. If you merely wished to stalk something, however, we could. But it would be only a mere mock, like a lesson for a cub.
This is true, and you are no cub.
I am not, and neither are you.
Oh, the days where I was. Lucas, when he goes ahead and says that, has well, conflicting emotions with that, as we all go ahead and do. The beginning of the statement is quite lighthearted, and the end of it is not so lighthearted.
Then, if you do not wish to hunt or stalk here, what do you wish to do? For although this place is wilder and I appreciate it, you look round with longing at the trees. So there are some who would prefer us not to run the risk on four legs in a place still so surrounded and encroached on by the humans. You can see the paths still cut their way through here.
Mm-hmm. And as you say that, you both, Lucas and Calls, go ahead and pass a trail that apparently has been well marked, but not only with the Hobbit smell. There's a big old pile of horse shit right over there.
Lovely. Calls will
Lovely.
sneeze, but ultimately it's still a natural smell. It is still better than the filth of the city. The smell of the deposits that the cars leave. The deposits the horses leave are far more pleasant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess I've been here more than once or twice. Actually quite impressed you're able to get that lay of the land so quickly, so soon. But yeah, this is the Telerium side of the state park, and over more eastward is Bohemia Park, where in the Umbra you would see all the splendor of the great tree that the Sepp keeps talking about.
This is this is certainly a place to see. I had It'd be easy to lose hope and to lose sight of the wild, and to think that all is, despite the oasis that our little sept is, it would be easy to think that there is nothing left. Coming here, it is clear to see there is still something so close that is worth fighting for, that is worth defending, that is. It shows the wild, although clearly riddled with the weaver's paths, is still strong, not so far. The weaver's reach does not quite strangle everything.
Yep, yep. Goes ahead and looks around. Lots of people tend to just forget about this place, and like I said, it's quite a shame. They went ahead and fought so long and so hard for this place. Seems like kind of a shame not to remind people of the beauty of it every once in a while.
I think you are right. Maybe more people should be brought here so that their hope can be revived. Or if they cannot be brought, should be told of this place so that their hope can be revived, so they can remember the wild. I think some of us have been so long fighting in that city where we are so beleaguered that we lose sight, and we almost lose that piece of wild within us that keeps us fighting. We forget what we are fighting for. just keep fighting, because that is what we are. We are soldiers.
Yep, soldiers and warriors for Gaia. Every one of us.
We all say that.
Which, go ahead.
We all say that. We say we are warriors for Gaia. But what are we? But when we are just fighting defense all the time, what are we fighting for? We fight the next threat and the next threat and the next threat. And that is fine, defense is good. But we must remember that once we did more than just fight in defense, once we actually struck out and we claimed things for Gaia, and but when we say for Gaia, what does that mean? We say invoke her name, and we mostly mean in defense of ourselves these days. We defend our lives, we defend the lives of our brothers and sisters. But what are we actually defending if the land is still being slowly taken over by the Weaver and following the Weaver the worm?
That'll actually stop Lucas's in his tracks because he's probably heard this rhetoric before, but certainly not so recently, and certainly not from Culls herself. You know, you make a very, very impassioned and motivating speech when you really need to, Culls.
I have not everyone is willing to listen. A storyteller must always judge their audience. But there is something in you. I think that we have shared things. And when I have spoken to you, you show a level of understanding that I feel that you could easily be lost in this city, following the same motions as the others. But I feel that you could equally rise above it and be truly what Gaia needs you to be.
You definitely see that goes ahead and brings a perk in Lucas's step. You giving him and trying to evaluate and praise his actions. A bit of balance, right? That's what people go ahead and keep telling me. That people gotta be balanced. And some people I don't think understand what that balance is, and some people go ahead and interpret it as being two extremes at once. Some people go ahead and interpret that as just being moderate all the time. But everything should be in moderation, even moderation itself. As you two continue to walk on, you go ahead and start to curve your way a little bit more west and curve your way a little bit more south. And as you go ahead and do so, the light of Helios goes ahead and sets over the treetops, and it is well a black night. There is no moon out in sight. You are basically completely and utterly dropped into pitch black, and you are one with your element. At least Lucas goes ahead and seems to be. You catch whiffs of him. He's not trying to outpace you. He's just simply, by your remarks, by praising him, getting more and more into his element, being more and more confident. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to lose you, but he wants to go ahead and show you a path, show you a way. You can see, you can hear, you can smell him, but only simply just.
Calls will appreciate this, but also see this as a slight challenge. It is clearly a skill he is trying to demonstrate. But it is also one she feels not entirely uncomfortable with. So she will take that scent and lower herself to the ground a bit more, almost as if she is trying to stalk him.
You can definitely catch it. You can definitely follow it. And as you go ahead and move and smell him, catch him with your eyes every so often, he goes ahead and darts and disappears underneath a bush. You rush towards the bush. He's a little bit further away, this time just sleeping off a log. Again, you go ahead and rush and chase him. He Sometimes he completely and utterly disappears, but he only disappears in a blink of an eye. As in, you can quite plainly see him. You go ahead and blink, and he's a few more feet away from you. You have no idea how he went ahead and rushed those few yards away from you. But eventually, you do go ahead and lose him, but you lose him at the edge of the park, towards the south end, and you'll probably have noticed that inner wolf inside you, noticing that there are eyes on you, and they have been watching you ever since you entered this particular part of the park. It was almost as if a night and day transition, as there was definitely a twilight. There was like this invisible line that when you went ahead and crossed, you were completely and utterly noticed, but again, by unseen eyes. And again, probably a sense that you've had before. This is just like crossing the wards of the Sept. These are spiritual wards, and obviously the spirits are seeing you and watching you as you rush away. But again, when you eventually do go ahead and find Lucas again, he is in Hamid, pretty much walking backwards, watching you out of the tree line.
As she gets close to the tree line, she will drop down because she does not want to break the tree line and keep her eyes on him, but she will, drop onto her haunches slightly and pause and see if he will come back within the trees or whether it is time to leave.
You see that he makes no move to re-enter the trees. Either he's not seen you, or he just doesn't wish to go back.
She will pause a moment and take a deep breath, enjoying the sense of the woods, and then she will slowly shift and look around before she will slowly shift back up into Hamid before she will exit the woods to find Lucas. Before she leaves the woods, she will look back once, just sort of focusing almost as if she's focusing on the things in the forest, but she sort of knows, or you say, that there's something there. And cock her head one more time before striding out.
You see very, very good nature, Lucas. Did we enjoy ourselves?
It was a pleasant diversion. It is good to come back to somewhere, as I said, and to feel the true earth beneath your feet, and smell the trees. What about you? What do you find in this place?
I find in this place second chances, a place that is plain, a place that can be built up. I look at this and I imagine a big, big sandbox to go ahead and play in.
The wild provides many opportunities for us, and for those who will appreciate it.
This place is a place to be built up, a place to be maintained, a place to be shown off and displayed. Like you said, a place for warriors to come and refresh themselves. And hopefully a place that it becomes a launching off point for other offenses against the worm.
Indeed.
But I think it's time to go home.
I agree. This has been good. I have your lesson before on the blending in. I will, and the being seen but not being seen. I will think on this. I will try to use it. There are those in the park which I wish to observe.
Oh yeah, and what sort of people?
Those those who patrol our park in the name of the safety of the homids. They have grown larger in number. I have been observing them.
What does your observations tell you?
I have only recently begun, but there are more in number. Some of them, and these ones are not, it is not just the same ones in larger groups. There are new people, and all of them have better equipment than before, or new things. They have new things. Some of these are more threatening than before. They do not carry them on their front or on the surface. Some are there, some not so much. I am seeking more details, as I say. I have suspicions and scents, but I must observe more to gather more information. I will see.
Does
I have blue booked things and ST is getting back to me.
Yay! Well, that all sounds fantastic. As Lucas is gonna start to step away to walk away, and the parking lot where the mystery machine is isn't too far away. It's that big stupid van with those tie-dye colors. You notice that Lucas goes ahead and walks with a sense of there she is, sense of relief.
You you claim this as your own. It smells of you. Do you consider this your territory? Is it territory that moves?
He goes ahead and nods. Yeah, I guess I would go ahead and like consider this my territory. I mean, all territory is Gaia's territory. Any land that you find is a gift from her, and a gift that you should appreciate, and a gift that you should be able to share with your brothers and sisters.
You are using words here. These words
Yes,
are light and flippant, and you are claiming things for things that perhaps are not such. You, if this is yours, then you claim it. If it is not,
yes.
then it is others, it may be shared, but things are intrinsically claimed.
This is true. This thing here is certainly claimed by myself, but I would like to think that I go ahead and use it for the benefit of my brothers and sisters, and that at any such point, if my brothers and sisters require something from me, that I be able to at least help them along, should the cause be just.
And That is all well and good. I have one. You. I have heard stories of your machine and your use of it for both yourself and others, and these are well and good. But I would also object that perhaps a tool such as this, created as it is, and the smells it produces and the things it leaves behind, it may be many things, and you may insist to me that it may be a good thing of the Weaver, but it is not really of Gaia, is it? And to claim so is somewhat an affront to her. It may be, as some suggest, a tool of the Weaver that perhaps you are putting to good use, but it is not of Gaia.
You say that it's not of Gaia? Okay. Where does it come from? Where did I steal this magnificent machine?
It is of the world, but it is of things that humans extracted from the world and from Gaia, and they made it into something else.
Very well, very well. To do. How about this for a little bit of a philosophical argument? He goes ahead and looks to you. I'm just going to use more and more words, and you're just going to get more confused. I apologize. Let's say this. It's true that this machine was made from parts from Gaia herself, was processed by Hamid hands and Hamid waves using their tools, their weaver contraptions. It's true. But this thing here is older than me and has been passed through my family for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages. So it holds that sort of sympathetic value, at least to me. This is why I claim it. I claim it because, well, my family went ahead and claimed it long before me.
It may be yours, and it may be a tool. This does not make it of Gaia. As you said before, balance is important. Balance is of Gaia. If you needed to use something from the earth, it could then return to the earth. If you chop down a tree and use the wood to make the fire, then the fire consumes the wood, and the ashes blow into the air and sink back into the earth. It is all in balance. When the humans use the weaver's methods to melt the stone and to turn things into what it is, the very fact that of the fumes and the smell and the wretchedness in the air and the very marks it leaves on the earth, these are not balance. These no longer fit. Therefore, it is not truly of Gaia. You may use this thing for Gaia's purpose, but it of itself is not of Gaia. The good you may do with it may, and I say may, outbalance the destruction that happened in its creation and that happen every time you run it. But it is not of Gaia.
Hmm. That'll actually go ahead and stop Lucas for a hot second. You've obviously gone ahead and stumped him. Oh yeah, you've definitely gone ahead and stumped him. He's like leaning against the van. He's like scratching his chin.
If these if this story of creation has given you pause for thought, then I consider myself to have done something good. I am not saying that you should not use this tool. These tools are unfortunate necessities in the world as it is, in the world we must fight in. So use your tool, but do not claim it is of Gaia, but use it for her, and use it in such a way so that it can bring some balance to to the corruption and the destruction that its existence has brought. Use it so that it has done more good than its creation. Use it knowing these things and the cost that it has been bought with. If you use it knowing the cost it has been bought with and do things in her name, you will then do many more things, and it will drive you forwards. And
Goes ahead and nods at that.
if you use this, the costs that our lives and our existence and its existence have been bought with, then and pay some of it back to the wild and to Gaia, then maybe when you leave this world, you can feel that you shall have served Gaia and left things and left its imprint on the world lesser for it.
Very well, very well. Certainly, certainly a direction forward. I apologize if I went ahead and offended ya for saying it's of Gaia. What I meant to say was, well, some days I like to think that Gaia has a big plan and moves in very subtle ways and mannerisms. And me getting a hold of this machine right here, I'd like to think it's Gaia's way of providing me something to continue the fight.
Maybe if you choose to believe there is a plan and that helps you, that is fine. Maybe there is a plan. Maybe her giving you this tool and the good that you will do will counteract this tool's existence and will mean that at least one of them has paid off their debt to her. Because you, as I say, you have clearly will do and have done many things. You have you have a good heart, Lucas. You clearly are trying to do the things for Gaia. You keep your mind open and you keep your eyes open.
If you praise me all night, I don't know. I just don't know. I might get a full head of myself. Jump on in. Let's go home.
But if I can inspire you and direct you in any way and lift you up, surely that's what a galliard is meant to do. That is our purpose.
You're going to do excellent things for your pack. Lucas at this point goes ahead and brings out the keychain again, and well, something that you may not have noticed the first time around as he jingles the keys around. There's well, a small wooden figure on it. Looks like a hair. He goes ahead and takes again this key, unlocks the door, and sort of leans over to the other side of the van to unlock the other one for you, so you can hop back in.
She will jump in the van when it's unlocked. Um, Thank you, Lucas. As you say, we should return.
All right. Anything else you wish to do?
Nope.
Okay. I'll give an outro. And so the machine goes ahead and starts up again. And again, the radio. You'll notice this about the machine. It doesn't always just start up the radio like absolutely perfectly. For the first few minutes of its startup, it starts to spread out random words. You can swear that as the both of you, as we go ahead and in the scene, as the both of you go ahead and drive past that straight road, you can almost swear that the radio is saying hello specifically to you.